What we talking about?
Richard Sherman said that Matthew Stafford, Super Bowl winning quarterback Matthew Stafford, is not a Hall of Famer. What do y'all think?
Well, he said a little bit more than that, but
I mean,
that's the gist of it.
Put me on that. Because he made some points, but go ahead. Like, if you got him off the top.
I don't, but nah, he basically said that they're lowering the bar for Hall of Fame acceptance if they were to let Stafford in based on his accomplishments. He's only been to the Pro Bowl once. He's won one Super Bowl, and he was never an MVP. He was never the best quarterback in the league.
Losing record as a starter.
Has he only been to the Pro Bowl once for real?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Wow.
Not really. Pro Bowl's a popularity contest.
I
mean, yeah, and he's been in Detroit for so long. And then you got to think about Breeze and Rodgers were probably going every year in the NFC. And then there's probably a bunch of Russell Wilson years.
And Eli was going like once every like 8 years. So
yeah, he probably didn't deserve it.
At the New York fan base.
It's hard to hear that from a non-quarterback, because it just seems like people who played the game and now they talk about the game, they don't have love for quarterbacks. But it's like Matt Stafford,
and especially Richard Sherman.
Yeah, like he just did the hardest. Like he was under the most pressure out of every NFL player this year.
Out of every NFL player? Wow.
Okay. We ain't going down the list. But like, think about it. Like he got traded to LA. LA, first of all, did everything they could to get him. He had to deliver. It was championship or bust because
LA was win now. Yeah.
When it came down to like the fourth quarter, like he had to like rely on Cooper Kupp. Like he had nothing else, bro. Like and that team really was carried by himself and a little bit of McVay, a little bit of OBJ down the stretch. So like, that speaks volumes to what he did recently. But then what he did with Megatron was crazy. Like Megatron and him, were breaking records.
Yeah, to be honest, wherever he's gone, it feels like he's only had like one receiver. Like in LA, he came in where he had Woods and Kupp, but then Woods goes down. Now they bring in OBJ, and then OBJ got to learn the offense. And then in the Super Bowl, OBJ gets hurt, and now he's just solely relying on Kupp. In Detroit, all he had was Calvin Johnson for years. Then he had Golden Tate, and then he had Galladay. But like, he's never really had a ton of weapons. He was in Detroit. I think it's like super unfair because he's in Detroit.
I agree. Him being in Detroit definitely hindered him, but I wouldn't say he had a Hall of Famer in Calvin Johnson, a very potential Hall of Famer in Cooper Kupp. I mean, he's had weapons. He's had good offenses. The thing with Detroit was he was like, their special teams was trash. Their defense was trash. They didn't have good coaching. So like, that's what he was really struggling with in Detroit. But he went to an already stacked LA Rams team who got more stacked with him there. So, I mean, while I agree he was under a great deal of pressure, I don't know if I would say he had the most pressure.
Yeah, I mean, saying the most is like you got to consider everyone's situation. So that's probably like nitpicking. But he was under pressure to deliver to a team that wasn't win now. They had already been to the Super Bowl in recent years. So they was flirting with it already. Goff wasn't the quarterback to take them there, so they spent more picks. They traded away more picks to upgrade to Stafford. So it was like they had to. I don't think the Rams got any picks for years coming up, it feels like. So, I mean...
and they can't sign anybody, bro. They can't sign anybody next year, bro. Everybody's locked in.
The cap's going up. So
but also, like, if he fell short, like, you can't use the narrative that he played all those years with the Lions in Detroit in the same way. It's like, all right, well, maybe this guy just can't win the big one, or he's not really reliable or clutch or somebody that is a winning QB in the way we thought. Like, he has the skills, but maybe he just doesn't have it in him. Because now he's on a good team.
I think a lot of the Matthew Stafford Hall of Fame debate comes down to like our perspective of like his talent level versus his actual accolades. You know what I mean? And because he was in Detroit, it's like a lot of people, Detroit has been so bad for so long that most people don't really want to hold his Detroit years against him in terms of like not getting accolades, but he still put up the numbers all the time. You know what I mean? He still has some very clutch moments. early in his career, he got hurt a lot, I remember, but he's been durable for a while now. So it's like, he might not have the accolades, but it's his talent level that makes us say, like, I don't know, it feels like he's a Hall of Fame quarterback. Like, he's always had the skill level to kind of compete. He's just been in such a shit situation where he hasn't really gotten a chance to prove himself in those moments. Because Detroit, he made the playoffs in Detroit, like, what, 3 times? Yeah. So, I think he probably has to do more. I think what'll determine if he makes it to the Hall of Fame is his last few years.
Yeah, agreed.
He stays in LA, like, they make the playoffs. They make the playoffs next year and the year after. Like, even that, people are going to be willing to be like, all right, he's in.
I agree with you. He needs more time. If he has another 4 or 5 years, throwing 3,500, 4,000 yards, getting into the playoffs, maybe even win another Super Bowl, especially because, in my opinion, the NFC isn't, I mean, it's the Rams and it's the Niners. Maybe the Packers if they're able to keep Rodgers, but there's no one else in the NFC right now that's ready to take over. So, I mean, if they can keep most of the team together, get a little bit younger, nail some of their draft picks, then yeah, I'd be able to put him in the Hall of Fame. But I agree with Sherman. Right now, he's not a Hall of Famer. Losing record as a starter. I don't even know if he's top 10 in any records yet for like yards or anything like that.
Probably pretty close, like passing yards. I feel like he's always gotten a ton of passing yards. He's probably pretty close to top 10.
Yeah, I think somebody put his stats up, like I saw it on a post or something. He's like top 10, top 12, top 13 in a lot of major categories. Yeah. So like he's up there. But like, would you guys put Phillip Rivers in the Hall of Fame?
I think I would.
Definitely.
Okay.
Does this feel like a turning point, even though it's not injury related? Does it feel like a turning point similar to Drew Brees? Kind of like how Drew Brees went to the Saints and then he became like a winner. Like,
yeah,
like
all of a
just
sudden.
much later though.
Exactly.
Yeah, right.
The benefit
much later,
Brees,
right?
Yeah, the benefit with Brees was that it was like after like 4 years or so, right?
And the Chargers had given up on him by drafting Rivers.
Yeah, so it was like he had from 2006, he had so many years with the Saints where you're like, yeah, Hall of Fame career. Right. You know, but Stafford, now it's so late that it's like the amount of years he was in Detroit was the amount of years Brees was in New Orleans. Like,
but the age of quarterback is increased. Like a quarterback now could play a little bit older than, I guess, whatever it was before. So like for example, like what I'm thinking right now with Stafford, right? Like, yes, there's a proper young talent coming up, like the Herberts. I mean, Mahomes runs that talent. You know, he runs the young QB.
That's all AFC. That's not something he has to worry about if he stays in LA.
Right, exactly. And they all got to fight each other to get to a wide open NFC. So it's like pretty much Stafford could kind of dominate these next 2-3 years, like what Kyle said, if LA does right by bringing people back, you know, doing, you know, what they need to do in the draft and what, you know, etc. But it's like, I don't know. I feel like Stafford could, you know, he's going to show us he's a Hall of Famer in the next 3 years. He's not old. He's not that old.
Yeah,
you know,
and I think
he doesn't have any serious injuries, and
unless he gets hurt, he's popular enough to get into the Pro Bowl these next 3 years. Was he put in the Pro Bowl this year?
I don't think so.
Damn, who was in the NFL Pro Bowl this year?
Well, to be fair, it really did look. This year's Pro Bowl did look like who was available to come on short notice to Vegas, because it was what I remember: Kirk Cousins and Russell Wilson.
See, okay, no. Like, I know he didn't play in the Pro Bowl because he's a Super Bowl quarterback, but was he voted into the Pro Bowl?
I don't think he was. But do you think that when Eli Manning is eligible to get into the Hall of Fame, if he is to make the Hall, do you think that's going to make it easier for somebody like Stafford to get in, or do you look at
Eli gets in, which I believe he will?
Be respectful.
It's like, you gotta put Stafford in, bro. Stafford. Okay. You can't sit here and tell me that Eli is a more talented quarterback than Matthew Stafford.
Well, it's not about talent, right?
Well, that's the debate. It's like you need the accolades, but it's like he was in such a shitty situation for so long. It's hard to hold that.
By the way,
against him.
Before we go too far off, he didn't even make the top 5 in the NFC. Rodgers, Brady, Murray, Cousins, and Wilson.
how do you put Cousins over him? Like,
well,
I know Cousins
I didn't
had,
vote, so I don't know what to tell you.
How do you put Wilson over him?
Wilson had a horrible year as well. Not
Yeah,
horrible,
he
but
didn't
like
finish strong.
That's
He
why
started
Pro
strong,
Bowl-
but he didn't finish
But
strong.
Pro Bowl shouldn't be like something that decides. It's the same thing with All-Star voting for the NBA and the MLB. It shouldn't matter. It's voted on by
fans.
It's who's popular. It's not, wow, look at the year this guy was having. It's unfortunate. He didn't even make the top 5. So, and it doesn't give me anything past that.
He's 6.
Does Matthew
Okay.
Stafford have any memorable moments? Is he memorable? My fault. I when you see
Yeah. When his
Does he have
shoulder was
more-
like ripped out the socket and he ran up the field and finished the drive and scored that. And then he had the one where he runs to the line. I think it was against the Cowboys. Like they had a big
the fake
comeback,
spike. Yeah, the fake spike, but he leaped over the line.
but he leaps over the pile. Like he has some dope moments where like
Really, the best
But he didn't
moment
throw
for
the
me
ball.
was-
Those were like running plays, right? He didn't throw those balls.
No.
The
The
best
other one with the shoulder, I believe he threw it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The best one for him was definitely when like the team collapsed against Tampa Bay and Brady. That like the Rams collapsed. Akers fumbled twice, Kupp even fumbled. And Stafford with no timeouts still threw that deep bomb to Kupp, got it down there, got him spiked to beat Brady and beat the Bucks, who were defending champs.
Yeah.
So like this year was
on the road.
memorable.
I mean, the no look pass in the Super Bowl to Cup
That was
is
tough,
gonna.
actually.
It's gonna like that's you ain't gonna top that.
That's the tough part. Like to me, in my mind, from seeing him for so long, he's been nasty for so long that it just feels crazy to not put him in. But I guess if Hall of Fame comes down to what accolades you got, I could see it being tough for him to get in at this point. But if he finishes out strong, which he has a really good chance to do, I feel like you got to put him in because the talent's always been there.